What's up, 745ers? The sky and the ceiling. How you feeling, Katie?
I'm feeling great. Today is January 26, 2025.
2025. Welcome back to 745 Teen Mental Health Podcast News Edition. Hence this very serious intro.
Let's get into it.
Weather.
Rainy. And hailing. And hailing. It was
foggy,
hailing. Sad. Temp. 50-something degrees. Cold.
It's cold.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
Let's talk about the news,
Let's
the media.
talk about the news, the media, the good.
Okay. Enough with our little scat.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, a lot's been going on in LA.
Yes.
And the media has been talking a lot about what's been going on in LA.
What's going on?
Some current events for when this comes out so you can get like kind of the vibes. The inauguration just happened. Lots of media on that. LA fires just happened. Lots of media on that. So, yeah. Also, I'm in info lit this year, right?
Yeah.
So we're really talking about the media. Mm-hmm. But let's just start off plain and simple. How does the media you surround yourself affect you? Or actually, let's get simpler. What media do you think you consume for like the news?
News-wise? That's a great question. I actually don't consume a lot of news. The way I hear it is typically through word of mouth. And that's definitely not a good way to, consume your news. But my trusted source is the one right here. And I think pretty trusted source. Also, I ask my history teacher a lot about current events.
That's good.
And
surely he's trustworthy. News source.
Yes. Yeah. I'm serious. Dr. Bleep is he's a very non-biased kind of guy.
Okay. I like that.
I feel like he'll give it to me straight up.
Yeah. Yeah. I read the newspaper in the morning. I read the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. I don't like LA Times. Sorry. But sponsor us. It's fine. But yeah, I listen to the daily podcast, which is also current events, but it's only on one certain topic. And then I also watch the Ezra Klein shows, both coming from the New York Times. And I get a lot of my news on there. I also watch CNN a lot, and I'll just have it playing on my TV whenever. And I really like the news, like, more than the average person. I think I just like to know what's going on. It could be like I just have extreme FOMO about quite literally everything, including the world. But I need to know what the heck is going on all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that can be dangerous, but also really good.
Yeah.
Because there is just so much media, and sometimes it's false. I was at my uncle's house and I consumed like an hour of Fox News. No hate, but like no, like not to put an opinion, but like there's something to say about corroborating your news and like using multiple news sources.
That's the thing.
For your news.
That's the thing that like InfoLit so far has taught me the most is like, sure, like you can look at the quality or like not the quality, but the like how legit the source is. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if you're not focusing on the entire picture
right,
then it's like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're not like if you could focus on one little part, mm-hmm. And like frame it a completely different way.
And you can think that's like the whole idea when it's just a tiny portion of the big picture.
Exactly. And that's, I feel like, where a lot of manipulation in the media comes from. Because technically it could be true news.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this happened.
But it's not like the whole idea of what happened.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's like one of the great ways of thinking of it. So yeah, that's just like to kind of lay it out. How has the media been affecting you these past few weeks/days?
Well, I've definitely been more in tune with the media.
Okay.
Definitely seeing a lot of stuff, hearing a lot of stuff, but typically I don't really look at the news or anything like that because I believe that I'm a young child. Well, no, not a young child. I'm a teenager, but I'm youthful. I'm youthful, and I don't think I should be too concerned with that right now. Which, like, in turn, like, whenever I think about it like that, I always think, like, oh, but, like, later on I'm going to be taking care of the earth and what's going on in life. So I should start getting, like, into it now,
Right.
which I agree with, and I think like I'm still like active as like a
Yeah,
community
you really are.
person, but
Yeah.
like I think that like I don't need to like if it's out of my control,
Mm-hmm.
I just I don't want to like stress over it,
Right.
you know.
And I think the news can be a really stressful place, and it's important to just shut it off sometimes because sometimes you just don't need the negative stuff around you. Like, I remember I was really stressed out with finals, and I just decided I'm not going to watch the news. I mean, I read the calmer news, maybe, like the opinion articles, but overall, the news can be really stressful because it loves to center on negative things that are happening in the world just because it gets more views. And it often we forget, like, the more positive things that are happening. Like, you don't see any stories about, like, I don't know, great things happening sometimes.
Puppies being
Exactly.
all the
Hope core stuff.
yeah, I mean, yeah, there's obviously the Hope Corps, but I was talking with my neighbor, and we were talking about fostering dogs, and all the dog shelters, like they're only like all the dogs are only getting like adopted. No one's not even fostering, so all the dogs are okay, and I mean, no one's really like talking about that. So.
Yeah, because it's just
It's not like
as interesting people might think, and that's like kind of sad, but it's very true. So I think it's important to know when to stop and keep going. Also, like we talked about earlier, it's important to corroborate your sources and stuff.
yeah.
And like what I learned from InfoLit too is just like almost everything has a bias. Like it's obviously fact, but the like commentary around the fact is gonna be biased. And so if you just listen to a bunch of different biases and corroborate that, you're more likely to have like a very neutral view or be able to shape a better formed opinion on it.
Yeah.
So I really think like you should focus on, if you're thinking about like choosing one news to rely on, which you shouldn't, but if you are, just remember like you should know who owns the company that you're listening to because they have certain allegiances towards certain people, so they can control the news. And yeah, but also just like diversify, I think.
Yeah, I think that's all right.
Also,
Like, no, go ahead.
Also, like, we also talk about this, Zach and I, a lot, about trust, like, making your own opinion and not being, like, converted or, like, yeah. You can,
Preach.
You can keep going with this part.
So, basically, one of my biggest pet peeves with people is, they steal everything offline. Jokes, humor, style, whatever. Okay? I'm okay with taking little bits and pieces over there, but you gotta make it your own.
Right.
Because you're your own human for a reason, right? You weren't made for someone else. You were made for you. Okay?
Preach.
So, preach. And so, makes my ears steam when you can't come up with your own thoughts.
Yeah.
And, like, I think it's just... And, like, partly I don't blame people because, you know, like, they don't want to say the wrong thing or they want to say a good opinion, so they go with, like, the basic choice of whatever has been fed to them. But I think it's really important if you ever want change that you have to speak up for yourself and that you need to share your opinion, regardless if it's wrong or not. But chances are, if you think it, you know, you're a human. What are you surrounded by? Other humans. People are going to agree with you. It's a massive world. There's going to be at least one other person who agrees with you.
Yes.
Pretty much no matter what you say, unless you say that, like, I hate puppies. Because then I'm
sure someone agrees with that.
Then they're not human. That's like ChatGPT. ChatGPT was programmed to say that. No. Yeah, and so that's sort of like all I have to say.
Oh, well, touching on your ChatGPT thing, another thing I've been seeing so many teenagers do, and it's like posted on my TikTok and stuff, is using ChatGPT for the news.
No.
I can see how that's good because they get a well-rounded version because they're just grabbing from a bunch of news sources. But at the same time, again, remember who owns ChatGPT, and you can control what it says. And so I would just go look at the actual sources. Also, another like hack or like thing I would do if I'm getting into the news is I would look at, because I like reading opinion essays from like New York Times and Wall Street Journal, and they obviously have evidence, but there are a lot of it is just like ideas and just like thoughts about it. So if I were you, I would not do that. If like you want an opinion on something. For example, the Luigi Mangione stuff. There was a bunch of opinion essays over so many different things on that. And anyways, as I was saying, like the Luigi Mangione stuff, I think that one had so many opinions on it. If I were you, I would look at pure fact of what people are saying, or like I guess Louisiana wasn't like a great thing, but like something big, like like China's taking over, AI, or like they're like the headspace of things. I would look at pure facts that are guaranteed true, and with all your facts, form your own opinion. From your own opinion about it without reading other people's opinions.
Yes.
And then you can read other people's opinions and get like shaping on your ideas, but have like know the facts first type of vibe.
That's really good. I was thinking about it like sort of rhyming. Like there's a bunch of words that rhyme with each other, but what makes the poem itself is like what you put before and after the rhyme.
Right.
So like if you could have like all your facts lined up, and you could have the same two different sources with like completely opposing views using the same facts, but it's just the way they like focus them or like phrase them is like just could make two completely different arguments.
Yeah.
And so because there's always two sides to the story too. That's the thing you have to keep in mind.
Right.
And it's really important that you get both sides of the story. A, so you know how it's gonna like affect you or your situation, but also B, how it's gonna affect other people's situations as well.
Yeah.
And so that's like, oh, hi Julio. How does this affect?
Yeah. I think you're so right on that.
So, yeah.
And it's so hard. I mean, the news is so hard because like, if you go paranoid, like everything seems fake and like everything is like crazy and just like wrong, and it's a really hard thing to do, especially because we have the internet. Like we have just so many sources available to us, and the news is just like a hard thing, and it's so like it just means so much, and it has like so much power. Fake news, as we've known like over these past few years, has really soared, and like questions of freedom of speech have also become like really important. And I think we need to all remember, well, first of all, turn it off if it's stressing you out. It's just not worth it for your mental health. That's just not good.
I completely
also
agree.
When you watch the news, I think it's very easy to feel like I'm not doing anything about this, like how can I fix this all? And like what Zach said, sometimes you don't have control over things, and you can't control a person who's like miles away in Washington D.C. from here. I mean, there's small things you can do maybe, but you genuinely can't control somebody. And so like I learned this thing in therapy, like call out the things that you can and can't control. It makes you feel like you're in control of more things in your life. So on the mental health side, like when I see the news, and if I ever get anxious, especially like any issues or like rights that are getting taken away, I just think about like I can't control this part, but in my community I can control this part, and that's how I like end up making myself feel better.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good. I think like it's actually not talked about like enough really, that the news can like sometimes do like I remember during the fires actually, the news, or not the news, but like just like hearing the news like freaked my 99-year-old great grandmother out. And she like obviously like evacuating for her is a nightmare, because it's not like every house comes with those like stair chair things. And so I just remember like thinking about like just like the news probably like just like really freaked her out. And so I think like there needs to be a little more like, I mean, obviously it's really good to be like told straight up and just like get the facts straight so you know like what to do. But at the same time, like I think the news should have like just a little bit more control. And like you know how in like airlines it's like stay calm, the oxygen mask will, like I think that's what we sort of need a little bit on the news. But yeah, because like I felt terrible for her. She was like freaking out, and you know she doesn't deserve that. She's 99.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to start reading the news in small portions, and
you know, I'll start doing that, Katie.
I love that. And I mean, obviously for some of them you do need a subscription, but try your best to get the news. There's like newspapers like all over. And also I love reading the paper news, so I think that's really great. And also the news is just, it's good reading if you like need help reading and learning and stuff. But yeah, I mean I guess we just wanted to touch on like how it affects your mental health and just the importance of news and how to like look at your information correctly. So yeah, it's kind of a short pod, but I think we dropped some facts and knowledge. Yeah,
and I guess also the last thing I want to say is like if you do read this news or like you're like posting, I guess this goes for us too.
Yeah.
But I think we do a pretty good job about this. Like just like knowing where you're coming from, knowing what you're saying, making sure you're like saying it in the right way so no one gets misinterprets
Right.
or gets offended or anything like that. And yeah, just my dad said like if you have genuine good intentions, it will show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Stay safe out there.
Stay safe. Keep on keeping
on and read the news.
And read the news. Bye.
Bye.